Okay, my mouse. I've been wanting to do this for a little bit now. I thought about doing the Myers-Briggs test. I did that when I was in college. I was something like INTJ, I think. This here is a personality assessment. It's understandmyself.com. It's an individual assessment made by Dr. Jordan Peterson, or designed in part by him. I need to buy it first. Obviously, while I'm doing this personality assessment, I need to be focused. I want to really take it seriously because I'm going to start doing this self-authoring program. Olivia's in kindergarten, Leia is taking a nap, so hopefully this will all work out really well. Can you see? I have no idea if you can see me. I feel like I'm... So, while I'm doing this, I'm not going to be interacting with the camera as much because I want to give it my full attention. I'll tell you my opinion of it afterwards. Make sure that you are not tired or unhappy or depressed or hungry or likely to be disturbed while you answer the questions. Your responses will be compared to those of 10,000 other people so that your personality can be assessed in accordance with your similarity or difference to the average person. That's interesting. You will then be provided with a report that tells you how you rank according to your self-report, which can be quite accurate compared to others in percentile forms. If you receive, for example, a percentile score of 85 for extroversion, that means you are more extroverted, enthusiastic, assertive than 85 out of 100 people. The highly detailed, extensive results, unparalleled among available personality tests, as well as the large and representative comparison group that, in our opinion, makes the understandingmyself.com process uniquely accurate and comprehensive. Enthusiasm and assertiveness for extroversion, withdrawal and volatility for neuroticism, compassion and politeness for agreeableness, industriousness and orderliness for conscientiousness, openness and intellect for openness to experience, and will provide you with a very detailed understanding of exactly who you are and how you are similar to and different from the other people around you. This is very interesting. Register. Purchase complete. Thank you. You will soon be presented with 100 phrases that look like this. I am sad much of the time, or I frequently compliment people, and asked to indicate the degree to which you agree or disagree with the phrase as it applies to you. You know, before I start this, I will just do a minute of mindfulness. Okay. You have completed this task. Please click next to continue. Assessment complete. It wasn't such a difficult assessment. You have just completed assessing yourself with 100 phrases or systems that compared your self-ratings to those of thousands of other people. You are being compared to men and women of all ages. Here are your results. You will see where you stand in comparison to others in the general population on the major traits and their aspects: agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversion, neuroticism, openness to experience. Remember that each personality trait and aspect and your relative position with respect to them has advantages and disadvantages. It is for that reason that variation exists in the human population. Good luck with your expanded self-understanding. Oh my God. Agreeableness, 90th percentile. Very high. Makes sense. You are very high in agreeableness. It's true, because I hate to disappoint people. I hate to make other people upset. Like, it's really difficult for me to do that. I just go along with things a lot of the time. Especially when I was younger, I used to go along with whatever just to keep people from being upset and angry. If you were one of 100 people in a room, you would be more agreeable than 90 of them and less agreeable than 9 of them. Oh man. None of these are good or bad, they just come with positives and negatives. Agreeableness has two aspects: compassion and politeness. I would say I'm higher on the compassionate side than I am on the politeness. Like, I really feel deeply for people to a point where it's really like makes my life difficult sometimes. One of those things that I wish I didn't feel so bad for people, because I feel like it gets in the way of my life, what I want to do. which sounds very selfish. Compassion, moderately high. Oh geez, I'm wrong about this. Politeness, very high. Apparently I'm more polite than I am compassionate. Conscientiousness, high. 83rd percentile. Most of the questions I tried to answer, you know, they're like strongly disagree, and then in the center is neither disagree nor agree, and at the end is strongly agree. I tried to avoid answering that I do not agree or I do not disagree. I tried to really like self-evaluate myself if I leaned more to one side, because I feel like that gives you a more true result. You're high in conscientiousness, which is primary dimension of dutiful achievement. Conscientiousness is a measure of obligation, attention to detail, hard work, persistence, cleanliness, efficiency, and adherence to rules, standards, and processes. Conscientious people implement their plans and establish and maintain order. All those things make me so happy just saying them. Conscientiousness has two aspects, industriousness and orderliness. Industriousness, typical or average. So I'm in the 50th percentile, right in the middle. This definitely sounds like me. They like their leisure time. Typically they will do their duty, but can put things off and sometimes mess them up. Usually, but not always, they finish what they start, and they do it more or less on schedule, with some exceptions. This sounds very much like me. They are no more concerned than average with efficiency or savings. No, that's definitely not me. They can focus on the task at hand when there are high levels of motivation and pressure, but often find themselves distracted by something more entertaining, interesting, or worrisome. Yeah. Orderliness, very high. 95th percentile for orderliness. Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna say that being 95th percentile orderliness and living in a small, like too small of an apartment with too many people in it, and just everything always being out of order and messy, like, is so difficult on me. Like, I feel the strain of that daily. Extroversion, very low. Wow. 6th percentile. Enthusiasm, low. The 13th percentile. You are low in enthusiasm, which is one of the aspects of extroversion. They are also much less easy to get to know, as they are not chatty or bubbly. When they do talk, it tends to be about things which they find particularly Assertiveness, very low. Neuroticism, moderately high. You are moderately high in neuroticism, which is the primary dimension of negative emotion. Neuroticism is a measure of general sensitivity to negative emotions such as pain, sadness, irritability, defensive anger, fear, and anxiety. 61st percentile. Somewhat more likely to think things have gone wrong in the past, are going wrong now, and will continue to go wrong in the future. Withdrawal, moderately high. Individuals moderately high in withdrawal may feel higher than average levels of anticipatory anxiety. This makes it more challenging for them to approach new, uncertain, unexpected, threatening, or complex situations. Nailed it! Volatility. Typical or average? 48th percentile. Individuals average in volatility tend to not to vary abnormally in their mood. They express their frustration, disappointment, irritability reasonably and not excessively often. Even when stirred up and upset or angry or irritated, they calm down relatively quickly. If provoked in a dispute, a person of average volatility may react in kind, particularly if low in agreeableness, which I'm not, so. This is really typical. What happens is if I were to be like provoked, like I think that I tend to get upset, like I react more quickly, but because I'm super high in agreeableness, I don't want to show it, so I just bury it, hold all that energy and feelings in. Not very healthy either. Openness to experience, high. You are high to openness to experience, which is primary dimension of creativity, artistic interest, and intelligence, particularly verbal intelligence. People with high levels of openness to experience are much more likely than average to be characterized by others as smart, creative, exploratory, intelligent, and visionary. They are highly interested in learning, continually acquire new abilities and skills. They are curious and exploratory. They find themselves unusually interested in abstract thinking, philosophy, and the meaning of belief systems and ideologies. Totally. They are very likely to be prolific readers with a strikingly wide range of interests. Intellect, moderately high. Do not confuse the personality aspect of intellect with IQ. Intellect is a measure of interest in abstract ideas, essentially, while IQ is a measure of processing speed, verbal ability, working memory, and problem-solving capacity, and is better measured with a formal IQ test. It is perfectly possible to have a high IQ with a low score on the personality trait of intellect, or the reverse. You're moderately high in intellect, which is one of the aspects of openness to experience. Tend to be quite interested in ideas and abstract concepts. They often enjoy being confronted with novel information even when it is complex. High in openness, 84th percentile. The closest synonym for openness, rather than openness to experience, which encompasses openness and intellect, is creativity. High, open, creative people love beauty. They need an outlet for their creative ability, or they have difficulty thriving. They are sensitive to color and architectural form. Well, that is the understatement of the year. They are imaginative and like to daydream and reflect on things. They are affected comparatively deeply by music, often of many genres, and may be musical or artistic themselves. Both of these are rare in general population. They can get thoroughly immersed in a book or a movie or in their own thoughts. They respond strongly to beauty, creativity, and art. So true. Accurate. Very high in agreeableness. High in conscientiousness, low in extroversion, moderately high in neuroticism, high in openness to experience. Let's see, which one surprised me the most? I think it surprised me how high I am in politeness. I knew I was high in agreeableness and politeness. I just didn't think I was that high. Conscientiousness, I know I was high in that. This is the sort of thing too, is I really wonder how do I know what is inherently my personality and character and what is a result of my upbringing. This is like a huge philosophical question as well, but like I'm the oldest of a bunch of children in a big family. I had enormous responsibilities put on me and like expectations of me. That's how I viewed it at a very young age, and I felt extreme responsibility to those expectations, and like how much of that is reflected in how I feel today, how much of that is like if I didn't experience that I'd be a different person or I'd have a different trait. I really wonder these things. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that and trying to correct it. Assertiveness, very low. I'm so low in assertiveness. That's something that I think in the last couple years I've tried to change like the most. And whenever I do something that is assertive, I feel so good about myself. Like it's so challenging to overcome that, and it makes me so like emotional just doing it. Taking charge, making it happen makes me feel really good. One of the big reasons why I even question this in myself is because I know in situations that are almost an emergency situation, I know that like I am always one to jump in and take lead. Somebody is not leading, I'm going to jump in and do it. If somebody's gonna lead, I'm gonna jump in and follow. I've been in a few situations in life where there was something happening that was really like dangerous, or it was an emergency situation. I was able to react quickly, clear thinking, like I don't respond by panicking or with emotion, and so that's what makes me think like maybe I would be much higher in assertiveness if I had a different childhood experience. I don't know. Who knows these things? All I can do is read what I'm like right now and behave from now on, not appropriately. What was the word I'm thinking of? Dictionary. And respond properly. There you have it, understanding myself, personality assessment test. I really enjoyed this. In my opinion, it's worth the money. I think that it's definitely helpful for understanding yourself, and it doesn't just give you a result, it gives you a result in comparison to other people in society, so it's really tangible. It tells you agreeableness very high, and then it gives me this huge amount of text that describes what that means, how that works, and then underneath that you have the two aspects of agreeableness. It's compassion and politeness, and it tells you, it ranks you on that, and it also gives you information on that, and it gives you that for each of the 5 qualities, and that really is incredibly helpful. Maybe you'll be surprised. I was surprised. I don't know if everyone feels like this, but a lot of times I feel like a very complex personality in the way that I don't even understand myself, because I feel like I'm so many different things that don't seem to go together. And so this is very helpful for me. If you're like that also, maybe it would be very helpful for you. I almost envy people who seem like they have a very strong personality, that you know exactly what kind of person they are. I've never felt that way about myself. I've always struggled to understand myself, but I think many people feel that way. And if you do feel that way, I do believe this will be extremely helpful for you and enjoyable. I really like this, obviously, as you can tell. Okay, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. If you like me, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.